Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes a whole lot of information and boils it down to what you really need to know. And today we're jumping into something fascinating. It's about how industries you might, hardly think about, like the ones making your notebooks or stationery, are getting totally reshaped by these huge global events. So picture this. Early 2025, the U.S. brings in these massive new tariffs. And this isn't just some abstract headline, okay, it hits everyday stuff, like literally the paper you might be writing on right now.
Exactly. And these weren't small tweaks. We're talking a broad 10% tariff on almost everything coming in. But for stationery specifically, if it came from China, much higher. Think 30% to 55%. And just for context, tariffs on those goods had, at times before, spiked way up, like 145%. So this is, a pretty big deal financially. Changed the game overnight for a lot of businesses.
Right. And that's exactly what we're getting into today. Our deep dive is going to unpack the real-world fallout from these tariffs on notebooks and stationery. And importantly, we'll look at how one company is actually navigating this chaos, even thriving, with this philosophy they call strategy over shock.
Yeah, it's about practical adaptation, seeing how it works on the ground.
Okay, so let's start with the immediate shockwaves. First big hit. Input costs went way up. Just, imagine all the bits and pieces for a notebook. Paper, ink, the binding.
Yeah, the sources we looked at show things like paper pulp, ink, binding materials. Prices jumped anywhere from 15% to 40%. And it wasn't just the materials. Components coming from Asia got hit by those higher duties, plus shipping costs went up too. So this created this, urgent need for brands to find China plus one or out of China manufacturing. Basically, stop relying only on China.
Makes sense for managing costs, but I mean, is it actually easy to just, move your whole factory setup? What kind of problems did companies run into trying this China plus one thing?
Oh, it's definitely not easy.
Not.
At all. And that leads right into the second major shift, the whole supply chain getting realigned. It's interesting how fast buyers start looking elsewhere. Southeast Asia, Latin America, those are the main spots. But yeah, not a quick fix. The data shows lead times suddenly got about 20% longer. You had ports jammed up, not enough containers, serious logistical headaches.
Wow. Okay. So costs are up, factories are moving, but facing delays. What's the third piece? You mentioned price volatility. How did that play out?
Right, so all this disruption eventually hits the market price.
All right.
And that puts retailers, and ultimately you, the consumer, in a tricky spot. Retailers face this dilemma, basically. Do they pass on all these extra costs to you, meaning you pay more for that notebook? Or do they take the hit themselves, cutting into their own profits?
Whew.
The result, prices become really unpredictable. You might see different prices in different stores for the same thing. It just fragments the market and makes it hard for shoppers to know what's a fair price anymore.
It's kind of wild how quickly a big policy change can ripple down to something so, well, seemingly simple, like a notebook. So how does a company actually deal with this kind of mess? This is where Lion Paper comes in, right? With their strategy over shock idea.
Exactly. Lion Paper developed this response they call their A+B+C global manufacturing model. It's specifically designed to balance costs, spread out the risk, and get things done faster. All really crucial stuff when things are so uncertain.
A+B+C model. Okay, sounds methodical. Let's break it down. What's the A part? Jiaxing China.
Right. Jiaxing in China is still key for them. That's where they handle their big mass production runs and also high-speed prototyping. It's about efficiency and scale, especially for large orders.
Got it. So China's still in the mix for volume. Then what about B, South Korea? What does that add?
South Korea brings agility. Think smaller batches, really premium quality. It allows for low minimum order quantities, MOQs they call them. So more flexibility if a client needs, say, a smaller run or something specialized. It complements the mass production in China.
Okay, A for volume, B for flexibility and quality. What about C, Cambodia? What's the advantage there?
Cambodia is crucial. Its main benefit is duty-free, or at least preferential, access to the US and EU markets. So they can leverage trade agreements like RCP, GSP, EBA to manage costs and fulfillment effectively. It's a smart way to get around some of those tariff impacts, depending on where the final product is going.
Interesting. So looking at the whole A+B+C thing together, the big picture benefit seems to be resilience, right? Building a system that can handle shocks.
Absolutely. It's fundamentally about diversification. Spreading the manufacturing footprint mitigates the risks from tariffs hitting one country or supply chain snarls in one region, and makes you wonder, What other industries could really use a model like this, especially now with global trade being so, well, unpredictable?
That's a great point. And to make this A+B+C model actually work, Lion Paper also focuses on these TQRDEC core competencies. Sounds like another acronym, but it seems like this underpins the whole strategy.
Yeah, they're essential. These competencies are what allow the A+B+C model to function effectively, especially in a tough market. Let me quickly run through them.
Hmm.
T is for technology. Their factories are mechanized, built to scale, and they're always looking for the next innovation. Keeps them efficient.
Okay. T for tech.
Q is quality. They have checks all the way through the process, end-to-end QC, non-negotiable.
Right. Quality control.
R is response. This means speed. Fast quotes for customers, getting samples out quickly, just being really agile in how they serve clients.
Response. Got it. Crucial when things are moving fast.
D is delivery. Getting products delivered on time, every time. Even when logistics are challenging, like we discussed. Reliability is key.
Makes sense. Delivery.
E is eco-friendly. They focus on green production methods, recycling waste, cutting emissions. That's increasingly important, for brands and consumers.
Good point. Eco-friendly.
And finally, C is cost control. Managing costs across this whole global network, but without compromising on that quality we mentioned. It's how they stay competitive.
TQRDEC. Wow. That's
Yeah.
pretty comprehensive. Technology, quality, response, delivery, eco-friendly, cost control.
Exactly. And this integrated approach, built on the A+B+C structure, allows them to offer what the source material called total solutions built for today's uncertainty.
It really ties it all together. So the takeaway seems to be that, yeah, tariffs might stick around, markets will keep shifting, but companies that are resilient, that diversify, that leverage technology like this, they're the ones set up to succeed.
Precisely. The analysis suggests this is how companies can navigate the storm. It's about deliberate planning, turning a potential crisis, like these tariffs, into maybe even a competitive edge.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Today's deep dive showed us just how much impact something like tariffs can have, right down to the cost and availability of everyday things like notebooks. We saw the ripple effects, higher input costs, tangled supply chains, unpredictable prices. But we also saw how strategic thinking, like Lion Paper's A+B+C manufacturing model and their focus on those TQR-DEC competencies, provides a real path forward. It's about building a resilience.
And what's really striking is seeing these big global economic forces play out on such a specific, relatable level. A notebook, it really underscores how smart, proactive planning can make a huge difference in turning challenges into opportunities.
Absolutely. And that leaves us with a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on. We've seen how tariffs can quietly reshape the entire stationery industry. So what other everyday items sitting around you right now might be going through similar, maybe unseen transformations because of global trade policies? Something to think about. It might make you look at the world and your shopping cart just a little differently.